Michaella McCollum and Melissa Reid, later known infamously as the Peru Two, found themselves thrust into the global spotlight in 2013 when they were arrested in Peru for attempting to smuggle a staggering 24 pounds of cocaine. What started as a youthful pursuit of adventure quickly spiraled into a devastating ordeal that reshaped their lives, their families' experiences, and eventually, the narrative around drug trafficking among young foreigners. Michaella McCollum was raised in a large family in Northern Ireland, with a humble background in a rural area. Her early ambitions revolved around working in the arts, initially studying photography and aspiring to make a career out of modeling. To support herself, she took on various promotion jobs at bars and clubs, which enabled her to immerse herself in Northern Ireland's nightlife. Like many young adults, McCollum was drawn to the promise of freedom and excitement abroad, particularly in the vibrant social scene of Ibiza, Spain. In the summer of 2013, with her family's reluctant support, she left Ireland for the first time, hoping to find work and adventure on the renowned Mediterranean party island. Melissa Reid's background was strikingly different from her future partner in crime. Growing up in a stable, middle-class family in Scotland, Melissa had a good education and supportive parents who encouraged her independence. Much like McCollum, however, she was captivated by the idea of working and socializing in Ibiza. For both young women, Ibiza represented a break from their ordinary lives and a chance to experience independence, make new friends, and earn money, all while enjoying the sun-soaked Mediterranean lifestyle. Upon arriving in Ibiza, Michaella and Melissa quickly realized the challenges of sustaining themselves without a steady job. Michaella's family had been financially supporting her, sending money for basic expenses, but work opportunities were scarce as the summer season progressed. Her mother, who had funded her first week in a hostel, hoped this experience would be a brief summer adventure. But when work was harder to come by than she expected, Michaella stayed with friends she met on the island. The challenges of finding stable income pushed both women further into the late-night party scene, where social connections mattered more than resumes. It was during this time that Michaella was reportedly introduced to a network of people involved in illegal activities, including drug trafficking. While she initially shared the island's allure and excitement with her family back home, the tone of her communications gradually changed. Friends and family back home began to worry, and communications ceased unexpectedly as Michaella's new acquaintances led her down a path that would eventually take her far from Ibiza. At some point during her time in Ibiza, McCollum was reportedly approached with a proposition, a lucrative job involving a brief trip to South America. The details of how she and Melissa Reid met remain unclear, but the two women found themselves bound by similar circumstances and ambitions. A man known in local circles allegedly offered them a significant sum to transport a package from Peru to Europe. Enticed by the promise of financial reward and unaware of the dangers they faced, the women accepted the offer, unaware of the serious consequences that lay ahead. Before they left for Peru, McCollum and Reid traveled from Ibiza to Majorca, where they were reportedly introduced to other members of the drug trafficking network. It was here, on a seemingly innocuous day out at the beach, that they were told the plan. They would act as drug mules, carrying cocaine back to Europe. Under the impression that they had no choice but to comply, they felt trapped and pressured into the task. They claimed they feared retribution if they refused, suggesting that the network was extensive and dangerous. The journey from Majorca to Lima, Peru, was cloaked in tension and uncertainty. McCollum and Reid's arrival in Lima marked the beginning of the end. They spent a few days in the city, staying in hotels and socializing with locals. It was during this time that they were introduced to the specifics of their mission. They were to carry several kilograms of cocaine, hidden in food packages, within their luggage. They packed the drugs themselves, fully aware of the risks, but likely unaware of the severity of the penalties they would face if caught. On August 6, 2013, McCollum and Reid arrived at Jorge Chávez International Airport in Lima, preparing to board a flight back to Europe with nearly 24 pounds of cocaine concealed in their bags. As they approached the departure gate, they likely hoped their ordeal would soon be over. Instead, their journey was about to take an unexpected and devastating turn. Two Peruvian police officers became suspicious of the young, well-dressed women who seemed anxious and out of place. Upon conducting a thorough inspection of their luggage, the officers discovered the packages of cocaine. The arrest was immediate and highly publicized. News cameras captured McCollum and Reid, visibly terrified, as they were taken into custody. The footage of the two women being detained was broadcast on international news networks, with British tabloids seizing upon the story. Dubbed the Peru Two, Michaella and Melissa's ordeal quickly became a topic of fascination and controversy across the UK and Ireland. Initially, both women claimed they were forced into transporting the drugs under duress, telling authorities they had been coerced by an armed gang and threatened with violence. The press followed every development, from their courtroom appearances to statements by their families, who continued to maintain hope for their release. Their story inspired a mixed response from the public. Some saw them as naive victims, while others criticized their apparent recklessness in agreeing to carry out such a dangerous task. The case went to trial quickly, and the Peruvian judicial system, with its stringent anti-drug policies, showed little sympathy for their pleas of coercion. During the proceedings, Michaella and Melissa stuck to their claim of coercion. Despite their assertions, the judge was skeptical, noting inconsistencies in their testimonies and dismissing their story as unlikely. In an attempt to secure a reduced sentence, both women ultimately changed their pleas to guilty, admitting they had agreed to transport the drugs in exchange for a financial reward. The admission of guilt helped secure a lighter sentence of 6 years and 8 months instead of the maximum 15 years they initially faced. Their sentencing brought some closure, but also a sense of despair. Prison life in Peru was harsh, and they faced a new set of challenges as they adjusted to a radically different environment. Both Michaella and Melissa expressed regret and sorrow over the pain they had caused their families, who continued to support them despite the strain of public scrutiny and personal distress. Following their sentencing, Michaella and Melissa were transferred to the Virgen de Fatima prison, a high-security facility notorious for its challenging conditions. Unlike the relatively structured prisons in Europe, the Virgen de Fatima prison was infamous for overcrowding, insufficient food supplies, and a lack of basic amenities. For two young women accustomed to a Western lifestyle, the adjustment was brutal. They faced the physical discomforts of cramped cells and inadequate nutrition, as well as the emotional toll of isolation and regret. Prison life introduced Michaella and Melissa to the harsh realities of their decision. They spent most of their days carrying out menial tasks, including working in the prison's hair salon. The income from this work, along with money sent by their families, allowed them to purchase essentials like water, toiletries, and basic food supplies. This small semblance of independence helped them to cope, though it did little to alleviate the constant stress of incarceration. Both women's families made the long journey to Peru to visit them, offering what support they could. The visits were emotionally charged, providing brief moments of comfort amidst the bleakness of their situation. Michaella's mother, in particular, was a source of resilience, expressing love and support regardless of the circumstances. Michaella and Melissa's story continued to capture media attention, keeping them in the public eye throughout their imprisonment. In 2015, after serving a portion of their sentences, the two women were granted parole due to good behavior. After 2 years in prison, they were released and deported back to the United Kingdom, a turn of events that surprised the public and spurred conversations about rehabilitation and second chances. The media followed their return closely, and while Melissa chose to step away from the limelight, Michaella took a different path. Embracing her newfound freedom, she began to share her story publicly, aiming to spread awareness about the dangers of drug smuggling and the importance of making informed choices. She authored a book detailing her experience, which garnered attention for its honest portrayal of her mistakes, the hardships of prison life, and her journey to self-forgiveness. The story of Michaella McCollum and Melissa Reid, two young women from seemingly ordinary backgrounds, continues to resonate as a cautionary tale about the dangers of impulsive decisions and the long-reaching consequences of criminal involvement. For many, their experiences underscore the broader societal pressures that young people face, from the allure of quick financial gains to the desire for independence and adventure. In the years since their release, Michaella has become an advocate for awareness and education on the risks associated with drug trafficking, using her platform to speak candidly about her mistakes. Her journey towards self-improvement has inspired a more nuanced public conversation around crime, punishment, and rehabilitation. That's it for today's video. Let us know in the comments section what you think of the Peru 2 story, and I will see you on the next video. Stay safe.